Some empires are remembered forever, others are slowly erased from history. But there is one African empire whose influence once shaped trade, culture, and global wealth, yet today many people barely know its name. This is the story of a forgotten African empire that changed world history. Centuries before the rise of many modern nations, powerful civilizations were already thriving across the African continent. Among them was one empire that controlled vast lands, commanded enormous wealth, and became famous across the medieval world. That empire was the Mali Empire. The Mali Empire rose in the 13th century in West Africa and quickly became one of the largest and richest empires in history. At its height, Mali stretched across what are today parts of Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Niger, and Mauritania. Its power came from something incredibly valuable: gold. During the Middle Ages, West Africa produced nearly half of the world's gold supply. Much of this gold flowed directly through Mali's trade routes, making the empire unbelievably wealthy. Merchants from North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe traveled across the vast Sahara Desert to trade with Mali. His wealth came from the empire's vast gold mines and thriving trade networks. However, it was not just his wealth that made him famous, it was what he did with it. In 1324, Mansa Musa embarked on a historic journey known as the Mansa Musa's pilgrimage. Traveling from West Africa to Mecca, he was accompanied by thousands of soldiers, servants, scholars, and traders. Historical accounts say his caravan included hundreds of camels, each carrying large quantities of gold. As he passed through cities like Cairo, Mansa Musa distributed so much gold that it reportedly caused inflation in the region that lasted for years. This journey shocked the medieval world. For many people across Europe and the Middle East, it was the first time they realized just how wealthy and powerful West African kingdoms truly were. Maps from the 14th century even began to depict Mansa Musa holding a golden orb, symbolizing the enormous wealth of his empire. But Mali's influence went far beyond gold. The empire also became a center of learning and culture. One of its most famous cities was Timbuktu. Timbuktu developed into a global hub of education, attracting scholars, traders, and students from across Africa and the Islamic world. At the heart of this intellectual center was the University of Sankore. Here, scholars studied subjects such as mathematics, astronomy, medicine, law, and philosophy. Libraries in Timbuktu contained thousands of handwritten manuscripts, many of which still exist today. These manuscripts proved that Africa had vibrant intellectual traditions and centers of knowledge centuries ago. The Mali Empire also maintained impressive systems of administration. Governors were appointed to oversee different provinces, ensuring order and stability across the empire's vast territories. Trade was carefully regulated, and cities were protected by strong armies that secured the major routes across West Africa. Yet despite its immense power and influence, the Mali Empire eventually began to decline. Internal conflicts, shifting trade routes, and the rise of new powers gradually weakened the empire. By the 15th century, Mali's dominance was replaced by another great West African power, the Songhai Empire. Still, the legacy of Mali did not disappear. Its influence shaped the economic and cultural development of West Africa for centuries. Its traditions of scholarship continued in Timbuktu, and its wealth helped connect Africa to global trade networks long before colonial times. Today, historians and archaeologists continue to study the remarkable achievements of the Mali Empire, revealing a history that challenges many misconceptions about Africa's past. The story of Mali reminds us that Africa was not isolated from the rest of the world.